Tree Talking Time is brought to you by Conkey's Outdoors and Stone Creek Hound Supply. Be sure to check them out for all your hound hunting needs.
Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest feists to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game.
Welcome back to another episode of Tree Talking Time. It is the middle of August, and if you are listening to this when this comes out, you only have a little bit more time to get entered for the summer giveaway. You have till August 23rd. That is Friday. That is, if you're listening to this the day it comes out, you have a little over a week and a half. So head over to treetalking.com, buy yourself a shirt, gets you entered into the giveaway. And first place for that giveaway is an ultralight briar-proof jacket from Stone Creek Hound Supply, a JC Custom Coon Squaller from Redfern Hound Supply, and a 1-year subscription to Full Cry. And the second place is a Coon Squaller and some swag from Conkey's. So make sure to get entered. You can also buy any of the Tree Talking Time shirts from Conkey's as well. That'll enter you if you find them on there. Couple leopard dogs on those designs. If you buy those, they enter you as well. So you have until August 23rd, 2024 here. Get entered. And until then, hope you enjoy this episode.
So, everybody's, I think, has seen the cover photo in the Southern Hound Magazine. So, that weekend in particular, my wife and her girlfriend, they were going to go out of town and go on a cruise. So, it was daddy and daughter weekend. I got two little girls. Brinley, she's 8, and then I got Paisley, she's 5. And I brought both of them up hunting. They rather go do that with me than do anything, seems like, anymore. And all the old men, they always tell me to cherish them moments.
Mm-hmm,
so
sure.
Any chance I get, we're going to go to the woods. But we wake up that weekend, and I really didn't have the woods on my mind. I've been hunting hard here this past summer, and I gave them the option. Hey, what do you guys want to do this weekend? And they just looked at me, give me that sly grin, and we want to go to the woods. Well, say less,
Yeah.
So we go out there and pack the dogs up and pack our bags, get sleeping bags and all. And I got my good buddy Jamie. He's got a pretty decent little cabin out there that they don't mind sleeping in. So called him up, and we went out there and cooked out that night, hung out, and they stayed up late catching frogs all night long around the camp. And we stayed up longer than we wanted to, and just talking and hanging around the fire and letting them just be kids. And we get back in that night, and heck, man, it's 1:00 in the morning, and we go in there and go to sleep. And I told Jamie, I said, hey, I'll probably let them sleep in a little bit. I said, if not, they're going to be grumps in the morning. And we wake up. I kind of got my alarm in my head, and I get up usually around 3 myself, just because how early I get up for work. And I wake up and look around and kind of ease back to sleep. And she starts rubbing on my chest. Daddy, is it time to go? I'm like, goodness, youngin', we just went to sleep. I said, we got a little bit longer, so we went back to sleep. And she's waking me up a couple hours like, hey, is it time to go? I'm like, yeah, baby, let's get ready to go. So we roll out of bed, and I get them ready and get them to go out there. They like to help me collar the dogs up. So we're out there, got all the dogs stretched out on a chain lead, and they're helping me collar the dogs and all up. And we hook the buggy up to the truck, and we get ready to haul butt. We run up to the store, get some biscuits and some snacks, and throw the coolers down, and we head out.
Exactly.
Yeah. We get to the club, and we get there a little late that morning. It's 8:00 by the time we get there. And down here in, South Georgia, North Florida. So we hunt them basically on the Florida-Georgia line, right across the line, a little town called Fargo, next to Okefenokee Swamp. And
mm-hmm.
at 8:00 in the morning, it's already 87, pushing 90 degrees.
Ooh.
And so I'm already, I'm looking at Jamie like, we probably ain't got long this morning. And, so we get on the buggy, and we start riding around trying to find a track. And I told him, I said, I know where a good one's been hanging out. So I get around there, and it's not a private lease that we're hunting. It's actual club. So there's other people out there hunting as well. So I get around one block, and I stop and I can hear some walker dogs just boiling coming through the block. I'm like, well, this spot here is blown. You know, I'm not gonna be able to send nothing in here. And sure enough, old boy's running a deer that morning. And so we leave there, come back around the other side of the club, and another guy was getting ready to turn out where I was wanting to go there. And so I just looked at Jamie and said, man, it's going to be tough, you know. So you don't know, little spot, and there were a bunch of little pigs that been hanging out. And but still, so it's right on the boundary of the club. So if you don't jump them and stop them pretty fast, you don't have, you know, very far you can really run them.
Yeah.
And I get over there, and sure enough, there's piggy sign all in the road, and dogs start rigging in the box. Got dogs rigging on the box, and told the girls, well, y'all just kick out what you want to. So they climb up there, and they just drop the box. They sent everything. And my two young dogs that are actually on the cover, one's out of my stock. It's back to my cur line I've had for many years, and I bred it back to bred one of my curs back to a Dollins plot dog.
Okay.
And he's a yellowish colored dog you see there. So I bred it back to my buddy Wesley Whitfield's one of his good trail dogs. And then the other dog in the picture, his name's Waymore. That came from Kerry Brown. It's a Laurel Mountain bred dog, bred back to one of his cur lines. So
okay,
we can get in that a bit later. But
yeah, definitely.
yeah, but so those two went in and they struck right off the rip, and it sucked some of my older dogs to them. And they get in there, and they a little rally up, and before I could get to them, it broke. And so I'm going on the other side of the block trying to cut them off, and we get around the edge of the road, and I see the butt ends of two hogs. I just barely missed them crossing the road, but they look like real good hogs. And they were going into the club, which is very rare. That usually doesn't happen. You know, they're gonna go where you can't.
Exactly.
So we get around there, and they had a little pig caught not far off the side of the road. And I get in there and I knock them off, and I holler at the girls, start hollering the dogs out so we can get them to relay on them two hogs. And they started hooting and hollering, and sure enough, they ran out of the road, and two of them got back under them bigger hogs, and I had two dogs that were going out the club, so we jumped on a buggy and went to them, and I got them called up, and went back around, and had them two dogs in the box, and by that time, I heard the other two sit down. They was probably a little over a mile, and so we started making our way to them on the buggy. I seen a little boar hog run across the road. And so I went ahead and packed the two dogs I just called up. I packed them behind that boar hog and left them and went to the ones baying. And we get over there and get about 100 yards from them. They weren't far off the road, but I usually stop pretty short from them and walk up there so I don't spook them with that buggy. And we grabbed the bulldog, walked in there and called him. And sure enough, big old bar hog.
Nice.
And yeah, we was all pumped up, high five, and it's already late in the morning. I didn't expect to do anything like this, you know.
Yeah.
And so we catch it, and I let the girls do their thing with it. And about that time, I can hear the other dogs sit down. I look at my Garmin; they're only like 600 yards away from us. So I'm like, heck yeah, you know. I said, let's go to this one here. We get on the buggy and get a little bit closer. I was gonna let my youngest go in there and try to kill her first one, you know, with a knife. And we get in there, start breaking the bushes back, and it's pretty thick. They're on the edge of an old blowover and on the edge of a pond, too, so it's real thick. And so I sent the bulldog for about 35 yards. I couldn't see the hog. And when I heard that bulldog hit, and it just got quiet, I'm like, oh, goodness, we might have a good one called. Because a lot of times, you know, you catch them big hogs, they don't say much at all. They're not going to grunt. You're just going to, you might not hear nothing. It's just silent. You're like, what the world? Did it just break? You know, they just kill all the dogs. What's going on here? You know, it's like start scratching your head. But I've been on a lot of, you know, good ones in my time, and I just dropped my knees and we started crawling. And I get in there, and it's just a gangster, and he's whooping dogs, and we was able to get a hold of him and flipped him over and did our thing with him too. And it was just a heck of a morning. You know, we drug him out, and it just, you know, it's crazy. It's like the Lord just looks out. Anytime I've been to the woods with young, it's like the Lord he's going to put on a show for you that day.
That's
or
awesome.
Anytime I'm taking anybody, you know, hunting, I'll get calls, say, Cody, never been hog hunting for, man, like to go with you. And anytime I take somebody like that, it's never been, it's something crazy always happens, makes it so like a memory of a lifetime. And probably that's what that was that morning. Like me and the girls and my real good buddies just go out there and have a heck of a day, especially where we hunt at. I mean, it's something to just get up and catch a hog that caliber, that day, but go out there to catch two. I mean, it's about unheard of. They don't just hang around like that where we hunt, especially all the pressure.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I tell you what, looking at that picture, they're very impressive. And what they weigh?
One was a little over 300. I think he was like 310. I had to go back. I took a picture of the scale, and then the other one I think was 247.
Okay.
The bar hog was the bigger one out of the bunch, but so yeah, we made plenty of sausage. That's for sure.
That's awesome. And like you said, the fact that you got to take your girls, it would have been a good hunt if it would have been just you and your buddy. But the fact that your girls were there and they got to experience it and they got to help out and
oh yeah, Mama was mad she missed out on that hunt.
That's funny.
She was upset because she's always hunted with me since we've been together in high school. I can remember when she was 28 weeks pregnant, and I picked her up and set her in a tree to go to a bay one time. And she walked all the way in there with me. I was like, "You're not going no farther. You're 28 weeks pregnant. Let me pick you up, sit you in a tree here." So she's always went hunting with me, and when she seen that, she knew what we had done. She really respected that. So
yeah,
good stuff
for sure. Well, why don't you introduce yourself before we get too much further into this?
Yeah, Cody Godwin. I live out in Hilliard, Florida. Been hunting basically all my life. I didn't really start getting into dogs until probably about 13 years old. Nobody on my side of the family was really into dogs. Still hunting most of the time. My grandpa, he ran a 7,000 acre deer ranch basically right here down the road from where I live at now. And so I think that's really what drove me to the dogs was I got bored still hunting. It was something that was frowned upon. You see a dog hunter like, oh, I was a dog hunter. We don't mess with them.
That's
and because Papa never really allowed dogs out there on that property, and we managed it. We put 3,000 pounds of protein feed out a week out there, and club feeders and. The 8-pointer better. We ran a camera just about per acre out there. We make books of deer going from basically from a yearling all the way up to 6 to 7 year old shooters, and make target pictures of them like your target buck. This one here, you want to be your breeder buck. So I was always caught up around that. And honestly, I mean, by the time I was probably 10 years old, I've killed more deer than most grown men had. I think honestly, it just spoiled me, and I got tired of it.
Yeah. And
we didn't really ever have any hogs out there, and we'd catch some in traps here and there. And every time I caught one, I was fascinated by it. And we'd catch some big ones that hung out in that river, but they were just few far in between. And we'd always catch them and wrestle them down. Daddy and them would get in there and choke them down, and we'd tie them up and castrate them, and we'd put them in the pen and fatten them up. And that was one of the funnest memories I had was wrestling hogs when I was younger. So I think it just always intrigued me. And then when I got into, right out of middle school, me and ended up being one of my best friends, my lifetime best friend named Mike Park. His daddy had dogs, and got tied up with him. And his daddy take me and Michael hunting every evening. We get off out of school, he'd pick us up and take us to the woods, and we'd hunt every night of the week. It seemed like, and he had deer dogs and a couple leopard cur dogs.
Okay.
And we had a little stick shift Toyota he'd pull behind the truck. And we'd take his cur dogs out there hunting. And like I said, we're around 13, 14 years old. He turned us loose in this little pickup truck. And we had one bait. We'd call him on the radio. He'd come over and help us. And we'd catch him. And he'd go back run his deer dogs all night long. We'd go back hog hunting, So
that's awesome.
It seemed like that's where the fire started for me right there. Man, you about changed my last name to Park after that. I stayed over there every night if I could. I didn't want to miss out on nothing. That right there lit a fire in me. So I'll always be, blessed and grateful for that.
Mm-hmm. No, that's incredible, and the fact that you got to experience that at such a young age and have that much, freedom just to go hunt with your buddy, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we was definitely blessed. I look back now, and I'm like, I don't know if I turned my kids loose at 13 with a pack of dogs. But we did, boy. We caught a many of them. I mean, I remember catching hogs out there, just me and him, and you couldn't hold them down. They'd walk around with us hanging on them. But Yeah, I did that for a while, and then finally his dogs kind of started getting old, and me and Michael started breeding our own dogs and starting our own little line there, and line breeding them and crossing them back and forth between our two packs, and
Okay.
that's really where it all started right there between me and him. And you know, years go by and days get long, and you don't see each other like you used to, and we don't hunt together that much anymore. But I know he's still running his deer dogs quite a bit, but I think I'm really the only one hog hunting out the bunch anymore, and but still using that same old line of dogs we've always had, and um, I've always had pretty good luck with them. I always thought I had something too. You see, you think you got dogs, so you hunt with dogs, and started, Facebook and all comes out, and you start meeting different people and able to reach out, different states, and you actually get to see what some real dogs look like. You realize, I want some of that too.
So you said the dogs you have today, they kind of still go back to those dogs, though.
Yes, sir. Yeah, all of our old stuff. They're just a bunch of mixed up leopard dogs.
Now, when you say leopard dogs, I'm going to guess you mean Catahoulas.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
See, I'm a leopard hound man, so that's why I'm clarifying that.
Yes, sir. No, they're not. They didn't have no hound in them. Some of them open like they had some hound to them, but a lot of times they were silent for the most part. And I got some. If they get on him and they start trailing him, it gets pretty hot. They'll open here and there, but they do that every bout to jump him. And then sometimes when they jump him, they'll open on him for a little bit, a couple 100 yards, and shut back up. But I've got some out there now. Some of them half curves I've bred up, and they'll open the whole time. They'll open up trailing just like any other hound would.
Okay.
So I've got a little bit of both now.
What do you prefer?
Well, back then, to me, it seemed like the hogs didn't run as bad as they do now, and we'd always run silent dogs. And then it's getting where it seemed like everybody and their brother started hunting. Everybody's catching hogs. They catch hogs with chewed up ears, or the ones that been cut already, and it just seemed like everything was starting to get pressured quite a bit. And the only reason I loved hearing a good race. The only reason we ran silent dogs because we thought the hogs wouldn't run. But it got to a point where I think the hog can hear that truck or smell anything, it's already on its feet and moving, buddy.
Yeah.
It don't matter if it's a silent dog or not. So, you start breeding. It seems like you start trying to get some more nose bred into a dog. You start going to get a little bit of mouth too, at least my experience. And most of my stuff's going to bark, but I still catch just as many hogs now with barking dogs as I do with silent dogs. So to me, it don't matter to me one way or the other. As long as they're fast and run to catch, I'll run him.
Nice. I've heard that argument before, and that's why I'm always curious as to what people prefer when they, for hogs.
Yeah, I like that. To me, I honestly think it's just the hog. I mean, I've had sometimes in the morning times, it seems like if I find a track and I put on him, they'll trail him and bait him right there in his bed. I mean, I've watched guys out there bear hunting. They didn't find a bear track that day. They'll put on a hog, and they're you got 5 or 6 headed SWAT hounds in there trailing, and they're going to trail all the way up to where they jump in. They're going to jump and bait him right there in the same spot they've been trailing him. So sometimes I just think it's the hog. I mean, most of the time them hogs are nocturnal. They're going to be moving at night. So I hunt a lot at night too. So it seems like most of the hogs I jump at night, they're usually going freaking run. A lot of the ones I catch during the day, I usually bait them right there in the bed, it seems like.
Okay. Conkeys Outdoors is proud to be a sponsor of Tree Talking Time. Family, hunting, tradition is the Conkeys motto. They understand the importance of passing down the tradition of hound hunting. They are a family-owned business that treats you like family. They also understand the importance of having the gear you need when you need it. Conkeys carries everything for your next hunt, and it ships to your door quick. They also offer great warranties on all tracking systems and financing options. Check them out at conkeys.com. You can also use the code TreeTalkingTime5 in all caps to save as well. So what made you start adding plot in?
Well, so probably 2017, me and my had a boy started working for me. His name was Dalton Dial, and me and him became pretty good buddies. And I've always, been around guys out there bear hunting, but I've never actually went with, them to the bear woods and got out there with his daddy and his uncle and his papa and all them. And he started taking me out there with them, and I joined their club with them. And started going out there and really being a part of it, and I fell in love with it. I always heard from a bunch of boys, that I always used to hog hunt back in the day that quit hog hunting, started bear hunting. They've always told me, Cody, don't do it. You do it, you'll sell every dog you got. You got to pack of hounds. And I can see what they're talking about. It's hard not to fall in love with that.
Yeah.
Going out there and walking, because a lot of bear we get on, it seems like out here, you really got to have you a pack of dogs to stick with one on the ground for a while, because it's so thick out here, and it takes you a while to get dogs in there to them, more dogs. It seems like you really got to have you something to make them tree. And so to sit there and the intensity of fighting that bear on the ground, for hours on hours on hours, and him finally treeing, you getting in there and seeing that big joker up there in that tree, it pumps you up.
Oh, for sure.
And a lot of these bear out here, and them dogs, you just really get to see the heart in a dog, to walk one that long and fight a bad bear on the ground that long. And you get in there and you see some dogs like, man, I don't know how you stuck with this thing this long, so you got to see some of that, and wanting to do it, but I still, I can't afford to feed 20 head of dogs.
Who can these days?
Unfortunately, I'd feed 100 if I could do it.
I'm right there with you. I'm still looking for a dog food sponsor.
There you go. When you find one, let me know.
I'd probably have 3 times as many dogs if I had a dog food sponsor.
But that's a problem I ran into. I've got this line of dogs I've had for a long time. I don't want to just get rid of them to get some dogs to be able to do both. So my idea was, well, why not see if I can't, breed some into mine to do both? Because my cur dogs like bear. I mean, they'll run bear. They're not going to fight them. They don't have the bottom a hound does. They're not going to sit in there hours on end and sit there and fight a bear. Now, if he's up and running, they'll run him. If he's in there, they'll go in there and bang him for a while, but they're not going to sit there and that sucker keep on walking. I can't expect them to stay in there that long and do that. And if he does tree, none of my cur dogs really tree. I mean, if he's right there at the base of the tree, they'll tree a little bit, but that's it. If he gets up there out of sight, or they're just not natural tree dogs.
Yeah. So
that's kind of how, I came in to meet with Kerry. I think he had the same idea I did at the time. And, I was going to try to start breeding some plots back into mine. So I got with a good buddy of mine from around here and bred one of his male dogs back to one of my old cur dogs. And same thing Kerry was doing. He got that Laurel Mountain Gyp and bred it back to one of his cur dogs, and just trying to put some stock sense to them, because a lot of times, and not every hound that seems like this, but a good majority of them, they don't care. They're going to get in the face of that hog and take a beating. They're not really going to work the hog like you would like a rally of cows, or just work it. They're going to sit there in his face, and they get hit. They get hit. It's kind of like Rocky Balboa. They just going to take the beating and just keep sitting there and pressing. Where most of these cur dogs with a stock line, they're going to sit there and they're going to work it back and forth and move and get out the way and sit it back down. So idea was, if I could do that, I mean, it's going to take some coal. And like I said, this was an experiment I just started here recently. But the coal through them and figure out what you got. But
yeah,
the one I've got right now seem to be doing it for the most part.
Good deal. No, that's the question I asked you. You commented on when I put a picture up that I got my issue, and you're like, and I said, plots or curs, and you said they're actually both half and half.
Yeah. Yep. Now I get a lot of all my cur dog buddies like, you done went to the dark side. You're a houndsman. Can't hunt with you no more. And I'm like, no, honestly, I've only got one full-blooded plot dog in my whole yard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited about her. I think she's going to be a little dog. I think she's only 7 months old, and
nice.
She's sure enough doing it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Knock on wood. I know sometimes them early starters are early quitters, but hopefully she keeps on getting with it.
Yeah.
But she's actually out of my Waymore dog's mama. So her name's Liz. She's from Ira Jones. And
okay.
I think I look at her papers. I haven't looked down in a minute, but I think she's straight from Roy Clark's Laurel Mountain line.
Nice.
And then the daddy to that dog is Bayou Cajun Captain out of Mike Colley's line.
Okay.
So she's Bayou Cajun, and I mean, like I said, her finger paper says Jones Liz, but it goes back to that little mountain line.
Very
and
nice.
she's sure enough getting with it.
Some top big game plot lines there.
Yeah, I got looked into that too. So
Yeah.
that one got dropped in my lap, and I was grateful for that dog too. So she's doing it though. I've been pleased with her.
Good
And I
deal.
caught a hog with her the other day. She caught her first hog 3 weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah. I think she's gonna be a rough one.
You kind of said you're running bay dogs, so you catch dogs then as well?
Yes, sir. I've got I had the same bulldog. I had the same bulldog for 14 years. Just some stuff that you go find at the flea market. It wasn't nothing special, nothing papered up. But he was just, sure enough, get with it, and never had an issue with him. And just age caught up with him, and got back to starting to try to find something. And you around here just can't find them like I used to. You knew the boys that had them, and they've either got out of messing with bulldogs or just don't have anything they worth getting anymore. So I got with Ryan Rankin actually, and he hooked up with Adam Blaylock, and I got a dog out of Adam Blaylock's line.
Okay.
And he's turned out to be a good little dog. He's only I think 2 years old, and he's turned out to be a nice dog. He's got a good handle on him, hard mouth, fast, got them cat feet. I like so they start getting whooped. I mean, I want something that's going to get back to her feet pretty quick.
Yeah.
And shut it right back down. He's everything I can want in a bulldog so far.
Now, how big do you like your bulldogs?
I like them around 45, 50 pounds. That's my preference.
Mm-hmm.
Just because where I hunt is so thick, and I'm already putting a full vest on them. It's already hard enough for them to get through the crap we crawl through.
Yeah.
And I think dogs get hung up. You send them like I said, a lot of times you don't even see the hog you're baying, and you send that dog. Sometimes he'll go there and get hung up. You got to crawl in there and get him. Seems like them smaller dogs for where I hunt at, that they get through it pretty good. And most of the time, my cur dogs they're gonna catch out with that bulldog. So he's usually got help anyhow. But
Okay.
definitely thick stuff down here. And not saying a big dog can't do it, but that's what I like.
Mm-hmm. Now I've just seen some guys run big dogos and other things like that, and then I've seen other guys like you running smaller 40-pound dogs. So
Yeah, like I said, I just want something fast, something that's going to get there, and not necessarily have to hit him, running 100 miles an hour. I don't mind if he runs up there, slows down, and gets that position right. And kind of like that old saying, measure twice, cut once. Well, I don't want him to get slammed twice and finally catch him. I want that joker to go in there and measure him up and just smoke him. So
yeah,
I don't want to run in there, wide open and just hit him. I want him to make sure he's getting the right angle and pull tight. So, but like I said, a lot of guys like to run them big old bulldogs because a lot of times their dogs, once they catch, they're going to relay and get out of there. And you relied on that one dog to basically handle that hog. And not saying he couldn't do it because I'm usually pretty close anyways when I get there. But this time my cur dogs are going to help him out.
Yeah. Heck, the one hog hunt I went on, it was a pack of full-blooded hounds, and now they did have a big dogo, but as soon as she caught, all them hounds were diving in too.
Yeah. So a lot of these boys I hunt with down here, bear hunting wise, the Dollins line is pretty big down here. Talking with my buddy Seth Rawson and his crew, sounds like Leo Dollins used to come down here quite a bit and hunt with them back in the day. And that's where they really, fell in love with that Dollins breed.
Mm-hmm.
And they're big dogs. I mean, they're really big dogs. I mean, some of them dogs, I guarantee, are upwards of 90 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And tall. Man, they're big dogs. And they've got a couple, and their dogs do go in there and bay. They send a couple of them. Might as well be sending bulldogs. On most of them hogs, they're not baying. They're going to go there and put straight teeth to him.
That's funny. But hey, if it works for them.
Yeah, it works for sure. It definitely produces the meat.
Yep. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy. Like, just, I don't know. I'm not saying there's not differences in squirrel dogs or coon dogs or bear dogs by any means, but just the way people hunt hogs, I feel like there's just a lot of it can be drastically different depending on where you live and what style dogs you have. Like,
100%.
And I'm not saying, like I said, you can have differences in squirrel dogs and coon dogs by all means. Like, competition dog versus, you go out there with a mountain cur, they're going to hunt very different, but it's not quite night and day different like hog hunting.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. My cur dogs, they're pretty hot-nosed dogs. I wouldn't tell you they take anything over, a 3 or 4 hour old track, but where I hunt at, usually abundance of hogs, and if they can't, take the track I found, I can usually rig one on up the road or, jump one right around the next corner somewhere. But, if I go up and hunt them peanut farms or something like that, where you've got to have a dog that's just going to cast and get going, a lot of my cur dogs are just not used to having to hunt like that. Not saying if I didn't train one like that as a puppy, that I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I've never had to really hunt like that. So now that I've been venturing out and going like up there hunting Mr. Kevin Brooks, where woods are kind of more wide open, and going a little farther north and all, I've been these half and half dogs I've got. That's how I've been trying to hunt them, more casting, and so I can go hunt different places like that. But other than that, I mean, most of my dogs are just going to road or put on track or rig, and kind of holds you tight to where you're going to go hunt. Like I said, they do great around South Florida, and I say South Florida, South Florida they do fine. Anywhere really in Florida they do fine just because how many hogs are down here, and then South Georgia. But you get up there and start hunting like in big farms and all, where you just park on the edge of the field and kick them out and expect them to go. They might go for a couple 100 yards, but I'm not going to sit and tell you they're going to go no mile in there and jump and find one. So really depends on the environment you go in for sure.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And you said something about them squirrel dogs. This past year I went to up there in, I believe it was Tennessee. It's the Georgia-Tennessee line right there, and we went hunting with Josh Stander.
Okay.
And went up there and ran bear with him, and we ended up catching a couple of good boar hogs up there. And right there before I left, we went out there to his dog pens, and he showed me a couple of dogs he didn't bring out there on the hunt. And he had a little Kimmer dog named Oakley, and she had one messed up leg where she got bear caught years ago, and told me she just doesn't make it on them long bear races no more in the mountains. Like,
yeah,
I mean, we ran a couple of them 6, 7, 8 miles.
Yeah.
And down here, I'm not used to that. Down here, I mean, they run that far, buddy. They're out the country for us. I mean, usually you go from trailing to walking. I mean, it doesn't take long.
Yeah.
And on a good day, but he just telling me, she couldn't, do it for her no more. But she's a heck of a dog on a hog and a bear. So I ended up bringing her home with me, and man, I tell you, once I got that dog in shape, I'd love to see her with 4 good legs. That dog is something else. And that's my little tree dog I've been using. I've been using her in them half and halves on the bear.
There you go.
She'll take a daggone bear sign or bear track like a hound. I mean, I had one walk the night before, and went out there next morning and put on him, and once she figured him out, buddy, I mean, she trailed him track for track, traveled right over it and took it, went there and jumped him up.
Good deal.
And, she's a fun little dog to hunt, especially when you get around there with all them pot guys and you pull her out the box. She looks like a little cocoa puff, little yellow fur ball with a little bobtail, and they're like, "What do you have there?"
That's funny.
And I got another puppy, a little Kimmer puppy from Caleb Smith. Never even met the guy, man. I was grateful for him. He just, talked to him online and sent me a dog. I mean, it's crazy what social media can help you out there with. And got a dog from him, and he's a pretty puppy, man. He's built like he's going to do it. So I'm looking forward to this year with him.
So you got your old line of cur dogs that are pretty much hog dogs, and then you got
Yes,
some half and half plot and your old line of
sir.
cur dogs,
Mm,
and now you're throwing some Kemmer dogs in there too, huh?
yes, sir.
I like your mix, man.
You know, so, and I've seen Kimmer dogs. You don't see them down here that much. I mean, you might see something that somebody calls a Kimmer, and if anybody's ever seen a real Kimmer dog, you know the difference. And they just call any kind of bobtail cur dog a Kimmer dog, and I'm like, that's not no Kimmer dog, but okay, buddy. And but I've seen some sure enough real ones probably back in 2016. I know a boy that had a pair of them down here, and he'd use them on bear and hog, and man, they did great down here. And
Yeah.
just you never could find them, and I didn't know even where to start looking, you know. And I was on Facebook one day and got to talking to Johnny Martin, and next thing I know, got a pup.
There you go. No, that's awesome. Wow, I've only ever I had a Kemmer dog for a short little stint. I had him on trial. I didn't even own the dog, but and he was an older dog, and the only reason I didn't keep him was he was dog aggressive. But I don't think that was
Yeah,
a Kemmer thing. I think that was just that particular dog thing. But I'm sure I'll have one eventually.
yeah.
Uh,
They're beautiful dogs, man. They're some lookers for sure.
yeah. No, I've been working on an old Kemmer man that I'd like to get one from, but he's a little hard to get pups from. So
That's usually the ones that got them. The ones that's hard to get them from. That's usually the men that's got them. Wish you luck.
yeah, I'm hoping, but he doesn't produce a lot of pups. That's half the reason why
Yeah,
it's hard to get one from him.
yeah,
So we'll see.
yeah. And that was me. I backed myself into a hole with my line, and get one of my jips. She got killed, and then the other ones were just getting old. And I was down to one female. I about messed up and let the whole line slip out from me, and um, ended up outcrossing to that Dolan's dog, and I'm able to pull it all back together. But yeah, I've gotten a tough spot right there for a little bit. You know, sitting around and not breeding dogs. And
Yeah,
then next thing I know, now I'm dog poor.
that's one thing I have to say. For guys that keep a line going, whether it's like you said, just kind of a family line of mixed up cur dogs, or even something like Laurel Mountain Plots. It takes a lot of work and dedication to keep a line going and be consistent.
No, there's no doubt. It's a full-time job.
And a lot like Roy Clark and the Laurel Mountain, there's an army of guys up there that all hunt them dogs that all work together.
Oh yeah.
And that helps a lot. But, someone that like yourself that's trying to keep a line going by yourself, that's a lot harder. Or maybe one or two other guys, but not when you don't have a whole bunch of people working together, it's a lot harder.
There's no doubt. You're completely right about that. That's like, Ben Jones with that Houston Valley line. I mean, hats off to him. They've kept that line going for a while too. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's sure enough tough.
Yep.
Got to have a posse with you, I think. It's hard to hunt all them dogs. I mean, how you know what you got?
Oh, yeah.
Based on other than just, knowing what you had. So.
Exactly. Now, like I said, it's something that really intrigues me because I think it's just something that's awesome, and I would love to be able to say, when I'm 60 years old, that yeah, I've had this line of dogs since I was in my 30s,
Yeah.
But will I ever have that? I don't know. I'm still trying to find the right dogs to perpetuate.
I'm with you. Like I said, I thought I had some dogs until, like I said, I got that one from Kerry, and it put a whole new standard in my pen. So, yeah, he's sure enough the real deal to be what he is. The age he's at, too. I mean, he'll sure enough get it.
Good deal. Now, just out of curiosity, your old line of dogs, what's all in that line of dogs that you know of?
Like I said, you got some leopard in them. One of them's the main male daddy, or the main sire dog. Most of the name was Yogi. He was just a little black and tan Catahoula, little short built dog. And then it goes back to some old Ben stuff. One of the Jips, she was a big dog too. She was a 45-pound black mouth cur dog, was a Jip dog. And that was basically the start there. And then all the pups came from there. And then pups off them came from there. We had the uncles to the Yogi dog. And I had some dogs off of too. And just going back and forth through them.
Gotcha.
Where most came from. But like I said, there's some leopard dogs, back to some mixed Catahoula and black mouth dogs. But we've hunted with that same line there for years and years.
Gotcha. No, I don't know. Like that always is something that intrigues me is people that like have crossbred dogs. It's like, what all's in them in your dogs, you know?
Yeah. I mean, all the dogs came from working line of dogs, and I never really had a sure enough program. I mean, just always breeding best to best and get what you got, and then starting to talk with actually sure enough dog guys or houndsmen, and you start learning really how to line breed,
Mm-hmm.
and up a whole new perspective. So that's where I'm starting now, trying to do some more line breeding and get out, breeding the best out your pack to the best, and start crossing more that way.
Good deal. Stone Creek Hound Supply, a family-operated business, boasts over 50 years of involvement in hounds. For over 2 decades, they've been dedicated to supplying high-quality hound gear. Their reputation is founded on unparalleled quality and exceptional customer service. Crafted from U.S. source materials, Stone Creek clothing is meticulously manufactured right here in Pennsylvania. Through their commitment to excellence, many of their customers have become lifelong friends. So if you had to pick one game over the other, regardless of what you're able, like, don't say by population or whatever, what's your favorite? Would you rather hog hunt or would you rather bear hunt?
Man, that's tough. That is tough. Oh man, I don't know. That's a tough one for me. I'd have to sleep on that one. I'd probably have to go with the hogs, just because I love walking to a bay
Okay.
and being able to put my hands on it, tying it up and then releasing it, letting it go again. But I mean, I like treeing and freeing as well. That's always fun. Only thing, like down here where I hunt, our kill days is only 12 days long, so we only get to hunt. And actually, during kill days, it starts Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then it falls to next Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It does that for 4 weeks.
Okay.
So it's tough. A lot of work that goes in just for 12 days out the year.
Yeah, and that's why I knew you guys had a pretty short season. That's why I said, not picking by season or anything like that, but just what would you rather do?
Yeah, it'd probably be the hogs, just because of the fact. I mean, I like walking in the bays and being able to go in there and watch that bulldog do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still a tough one now. It's not like having a couple of different packs of dogs in there on a bear on the dirt, just listening to that sucker chasing them around.
Yeah,
nothing like it.
Good deal. We need another story here too.
Another story here too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, this past year, this past bear season, so I was hunting, like I said, my buddy Dalton, his daddy is a buck dial, and we killed a bear we've been after. Like I said, I've been hunting them for, I think, 4 years, 5 years, and that bear has been there every year. Call him Hair Lip. I can send you a picture of him. Actually, it's on my Instagram, the bear's face. So I guess him fighting another bear, it took a chunk out of his top lip. So you could see his whole canine when he just came by a game camera or something. You could see his teeth show. And we always guess bear in the upper 400s. I mean, he's just a big bear. And we, like I said, we hunt on the Florida-Georgia line right there in the club. And seemed like every year that bear, he'd be there all summer long. I mean, you'd go up there during training season, and you could run the bear most of the time if you found him, and he'd fight you on the dirt all day long. I've never seen him in a tree. I think Buckingham did tree him one time, but I mean, there's been many men out there trying to kill this bear for quite some time. I mean, there's guys that were in the club before us that they tell you, hope you get hair lip this year, and I think it was the last weekend this past season. And we got out there, and I was going to actually go work that day. I worked 4 10s, and it was a Thursday, and it was supposed to monsoon all day long. And I called Buck. I said, "Hey, you gonna hunt in the morning?" He said, I'm thinking about it. He said, "Might as well." I took off. Might as well go. I'm like, it's gonna be raining, man. I don't know if anything's gonna move. And he said, "Well, it'll be sitting at work." And I sat there and pondered on that little sentence right there the rest of the night. It'd be sitting at work, and I decided, so I'm not gonna set my alarm, but if I wake up, I'll go to the woods. And I sat there all night just thinking, I was like, if I don't go, something's gonna happen. I'm gonna miss out. So I went ahead and loaded my junk up, went that night, and got up there and stayed at camp. And woke up that morning, sure enough, it's raining. I mean, it's sure enough coming down. And so we went to cook shed and cooked some breakfast, and it was just getting where it was turning daylight. And we was sitting there a little bit longer, and I told Buck, I said, "Hey, I don't think anything's gonna walk in this crap." So I think we should have went ahead and went to work. And it got good in daylight right there for a little bit, and my phone went off, and buddy I know, he just killed one. I looked at Buck and I said, "Well, they must be moving because one just got killed." And he said, "Come on, let's load them up." So we went out there and loaded the dogs up, and it was just me, him, his daddy, his daughter, and 2 other boys that were in the club. That's all that went out there that day. So 4 of us and his daughter, 5 of us and his daughter went out there. And most of the time I hunt off my buggy, and I was on my buggy that morning, and old Ricky called us over the radio. He said, "I'm pretty sure it might be a track. So it's more just an impression full of water, but it's big enough to be a track coming across the road." He's like, "But it is full of water." So we got around there looking at it, and well, it looks like a bear track to me, but it's awful big if it is one. And, you know, anything that walks in that wet mud, I mean, it always looks bigger than normally what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went there and got a dog or 2, and he put on it, and sure enough, they went in there, and went in there just trailing. And he looked at me, and he said, "You know where to go. You go get on that break, because most of the bear that hangs out close to that break, if you did jump them, they're going back to Florida, and you got to pull off of them. You can't run bear in Florida."
Yep.
I get on the buggy, I haul butt to the break, and I'm sitting there in the rain, getting drenched, and he was shucking more and more dogs in there to them dogs, and they didn't go in there 300 yards, I don't think, from the road, and they sat down bayed. So he called me back over there, and we get there. He said, "Cody, they might be on a dang hog." He said, "I think that might be a hog in there." So we walked through this bunch of pine rows, like tall saplings. They weren't full enough pine trees, but they were probably about 13, 14-foot saplings. And we walking through them, and then you hit the pond head right there, just thick gallberry. Gosh, thick gallberries. And it's still, you get in the thick brush like that, it's still dark in that tree line. Like you could use a flashlight just about, it seems like. And he told me, "Well, crawl on in there and tell me what it is." I get on my hands and knees, and I take off in there crawling, and I can literally see the dogs, the garments on the dogs just flashing. Like all you see is red and green blinking lights everywhere. And I'm getting around there. I'm like, man, I think it is a daggum hog. And by that time, the light kind of shined through the gallberry, and I could see his brown muzzle. And that's all I could see. And I just knew, all I knew it was a bear.
Yeah.
And that was it. And so I started backing out. And I got back out there on the edge of the break and told him, I said, it's a bear. I said, I don't know how big it is. I don't know if it's a sow. I don't know nothing about it. And so we started trying to break a trail in there to it. And cause it was bait on the dirt. And I was trying to break a trail in there to it. And all of a sudden and I got a video of it. I can send you. It's pretty cool. You can hear the daggum gallberry start snapping. And it was coming to us. And that buck was right in front of me. And the bear came out. I'm not lying. He didn't come out 7 feet from us. And he came walking out there to see what we were.
Jeez.
And buck shot him, and the bear hit the dirt, and he got back up. And I shot him, and he didn't move after that. And we went to hooting and hollering and, celebrating dogs or chewing on him. And we get the dogs off of him, and still didn't realize what we done, and
mm-hmm.
His daddy's up in age, so I told him, I'm gonna go take these dogs back to the truck. I'll get Paul and put him on the buggy, and I'll bring him on in here with me. We'll drag this bear out with my buggy. And so I get out there, and Mr. Tom's sitting there. He's like, "How big is he?" I said, "I think he's 300 pounds, 350." I said, "But I didn't get a good look at him." I said, "I think he's a good one, you know." And so we get on the buggy, and we're easing back there. And I get out there on the edge of that break where the saplings meet that pond head. And I call it a pond head. It's not no water there. It's just a big old swamp.
Okay.
Just the nasty stuff you ever seen. We call them ponds, but really it's like if you're looking at your Garmin and you don't have it on the satellite, you see that little blue circle right there with all the lily pads.
Yeah.
That's what these are. Just big old swamp lands. And so we're going up there, and they're all out there in the middle of that, in between that, we call it the break right there, because timber company will come in there and cut them pines.
Mm-hmm.
They'll leave like a skidder. We call it a skidder trail. They go in them skidder tractors.
Yep.
And so it's kind of got that separation from that swamp head to those planted pines. And they're sitting right there in that break, and I can see them jumping down, up and down, and high five and a hoot and a holler. And I'm like, I'm just scratching my head like, what's going on? This ain't the first 300-pound bear we've ever killed, you know. And I get up there, and Gracie, his daughter, comes running to me and just gives me a hug. Said, "Cody, we killed hair lip." I said, "You're kidding me." He's like, "No, we killed hair lip." I get in there, and they done pulled him out them gallberries a little bit. And I said, "Oh my goodness, what a bear!" And we drug him on out, and ended up having to hook a daggone rope over a tree to pull him up high enough off the ground so we can back the truck underneath him. And took him up there, and you got to take him up there at DNR, check him at the check station and all. He ended up going 547 pounds is what the bear ended up weighing.
That's a monster.
Yep. He was. That's the biggest bear I've been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
He was. The legend of hair lip was done with.
That's pretty cool.
It was. It was awesome. And getting to experience it with all them, you know, it was something special.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most memorable bear hunts I've ever been on. Was out there, and getting to watch my wife kill her first one. That was a pretty fun day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's hog stories, buddy. I could tell you hog stories after one after another. They've all kind of just run together anymore.
We'll have to get you back on, and that's all we'll do is just tell stories.
I could probably write you a book on them. I got a bunch of them.
Well, get to working on it. What are you doing?
Yeah, my grammar's not the best. It'd take a redneck to figure out what I was talking about in that book. You probably have to buy somebody to translate it to you.
Well, if it's written for, by a hog hunter for hog hunters, then hog hunters are going to read it, and so they'll all understand.
There you go.
So, well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me tonight, and I've enjoyed your stories, and,
I appreciate you hollering at me.
I look forward to reading some more of them in Southern Hound Hunting Magazine.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep them talking in the timber.